Thank you so much for your patience as we were experiencing some technical difficulties. We're going to wait. We're going to test the audio here, and then we'll get started. Thanks again for your patience. Just trying to test the audio. Okay, it sounds like the audio is working. Just going to check one more spot. And continue to just check the audio here. All right, great. Thanks again. So if you're on the YouTube channel, you can please chat over questions and I'll field those questions sequentially. Today's topic is about ETrade no longer supporting Mega Backdoor Roth Solo 401k. What are my options? So we're going to start out with some housekeeping and then lay the foundation, and then we're going to go through the topic. Again, thank you so much for the participation. Please like this video if you're on YouTube and subscribe for more videos like this. So the presentation is being provided for educational purposes only. It should not be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice, nor as a solicitation. When making an investment decision, please consult with your tax attorney and financial professional. We also encourage you to please join us at mysolo401k.net/mycommunity. It's free to join. All are welcome. We have daily live webinars. We go live every day. It's a Zoom style webinar at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can post questions in our forums 24/7. It's totally free to join. All are welcome, like I mentioned. So it's a great way to learn and to share the knowledge. So for example, here's our forums page. Oh, so, but again, please join there at mysolo401k.net/mycommunity. Here we go. Take a look at our forums page. You can see we have people posting questions throughout the day. Again, we go live every day at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So as far as the agenda, again, ETrade recently announced that for their individual 401k plans, their solo 401k plans, they're no longer going to support the Mega Backdoor Roth. So this is really geared towards account holders in that scenario. So this is not geared towards our current clients who set up a plan with us and they may have their brokerage accounts already at ETrade. In that case, your plan is governed by our plan documents, which of course still continue to support the Mega Backdoor Roth, so it's not going to impact you. This is really for those individuals who might have set up a plan directly with ETrade. And in the past, they did allow for non-deductible employee contributions, which is how one makes Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, and they've taken that away. So what are your options in that situation? Well, you could convert your plan over to our plan. So why would you want to do that? Why us? So we'll talk about that. We'll go through a chart comparing the ETrade Solo 401k plan with our plan. We'll talk about the process to upgrade your plan to our plan. We'll talk about some important compliance considerations. And as I mentioned, please post questions if you're on the YouTube, and I'll go through those questions at the end of the session. So the big announcement here is that ETrade's individual solo 401k plan no longer supports after-tax contributions. So what are your options? You can upgrade your plan to a solo 401k plan like our plan that does support Mega Backdoor Roth Solo 401k features. If you do that, you can still keep your stocks, your mutual funds, your other investments at ETrade. Because as I mentioned, we have plenty of clients who set up accounts with us, who set up plans with us, and they have their accounts at ETrade. So those types of accounts are not being impacted. You could still keep your money and investments at ETrade. It would just have to be new accounts. We'll talk about that when we talk about the process in a little bit more detail. Why us? Well, we have deep experience and expertise in supporting many clients who are making Mega Backdoor Roth Solo 401k contributions. So, you can leverage all that good experience to make the process easy for you. For example, we'll guide you through the process and prepare the account opening and transfer paperwork. As we talk about, when we talk about the process, it's going to be new accounts. The cash and investments will transfer over to those new accounts. Those new accounts could be at ETrade or they could be somewhere else. When you make Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, what you're really doing is you're making a voluntary after-tax contribution. It needs to go into a separate voluntary after-tax sub-account, and then the funds will move over to either a Roth Solo 401k or a Roth IRA. So that move from the after-tax account to the Roth account is a reportable event. A 1099-R has to be issued. We handle preparation and submission of that 1099-R as part of our service for no additional charge, which is really unprecedented in the industry. And we have hundreds of verified 5-star customer reviews. For example, on the Better Business Bureau, we have 0 negative reviews. So you can be confident in working with us. So as I mentioned, we're going to go through a chart comparing some of the key features of the ETrade Solo 401k plan versus our plan. So with the ETrade Solo 401k plan, of course, they don't prepare the plan documents. You have to fill out the form. Whereas, of course, with our plan, we pre-fill the paperwork, whether it's a new plan or whether if you're restating your plan in order to preserve the ability to make Mega Backdoor Roth contributions. Of course, we'll draft the plan documents as part of that onboarding process. If you want to take a loan, that's one of the top features of our plan that people take advantage of. We prepare the 401k participant loan documents as part of our service for no additional charge. With our setup, we have clients at hundreds of different banks, many different brokerages, ETrade, Fidelity, Schwab, down the line. So you'll have checkbook access to the money. And that can be important based on client feedback if you're looking to invest in alternative investments, like, say, real estate. In order to open up the account with ETrade, they're going to require that you provide a tax identification number for your business, whereas we don't require that. Instead, we follow the IRS expectation, which is the way that we've always done, is to obtain a separate EIN number specifically for the plan, which is different and distinct from the EIN number that you might have for your business. And we handle obtaining that as part of that onboarding process, that establishment process with us. Again, you can invest in alternative investments, whether that's crypto, real estate, notes, precious metals, down the line. And we have deep experience in educating clients on the rules, the mechanics of how to make those types of investments. As I mentioned, we handle the 1099-R, preparation and submission as part of the service for no additional charge. In addition, in the event that the value of the plan assets is greater than $250,000, and you need to file a Form 5500-EZ, we handle preparation and submission of that Form 5500-EZ as part of our service for no additional charge. Since the pandemic, they now allow for that 5500-EZ to be filed electronically. So we also make that available to our clients to make it easy to file it electronically. Of course, the Mega Backdoor Roth, that's the impetus for this conversation today. You don't have to have the accounts at ETrade. I mean, you could have the accounts at ETrade. You could also have the accounts, sub-accounts somewhere else, whether it's at a bank or another brokerage. And for a lot of folks who invest in alternative investments like real estate or crypto, they find that it's helpful to have a bank account. You might want to have another brokerage account just because you might like the features, or maybe a mutual fund that's available at that other brokerage account. So that's some of the reasons. So you can have all of the above with our plan. And thank you so much for the good questions. We'll turn to those questions in a moment. We're going to keep going through these slides. We're going to turn to the process. So when you restate the plan, so the process would be restating the plan. So the way I think of that is as a cut and paste. In other words, right now, if you are an existing ETrade account holder and ETrade is taking away the ability to make Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, what they're really doing is changing their plan documents to no longer allow for those non-deductible employee contributions. And so when you convert your plan over to our plan, what you're really doing, one way to think about it, is you're cutting out the ETrade documents and replacing them with our documents, which do allow for the Mega Backdoor Roth. So the plan is continuing, but it's just being restated. So when we draft the document specifically for your plan, we want it to relate back to the original plan effective date. So on our online application, we ask if you already have an existing solo 401k. You would say yes, and we would ask you to list that original plan effective date so we can draft the documents accordingly. Typically, the original plan effective date is going to be January 1 of the year that you set up the plan, and you can find it on the adoption agreement. We will obtain, as part of the restatement process, an EIN number for the plan. So if you started out with a basic plan at ETrade, they wouldn't have obtained an EIN number for the plan. So that meets that regulatory expectation, and that's the EIN number that will be used to open up, say, the new accounts at ETrade or the bank or wherever the case may be. So you'll need to close the existing accounts, transfer the cash and assets over to the new accounts, because those existing accounts are really tied to the ETrade plan, which doesn't allow for the Mega Backdoor Roth. And so now new accounts will need to be set up that are associated with your restated plan that does allow for the Mega Backdoor Roth. And if you've got multiple people participating, so say it's like a husband and wife, they're both working in the same business, you could have up to 6 accounts, right? Pre-tax, Roth, and voluntary after-tax for each participant. We'll complete and pre-fill the transfer paperwork. For example, there's the QRP distribution request form. That's the ETrade form to transfer those cash and assets over from the existing accounts to the new accounts. They'll need a letter of acceptance, which comes from us, which we prepare as part of our service. It's noteworthy that no final 5500 EZ or 1099R is required because the plan is continuing. So it wouldn't be appropriate to file a 1099R to report the transfer, because really the assets are not transferring out to another retirement account, or you're not taking a distribution. It's just being moved over to a new account that's associated with the restated plan. Likewise, a 5500 EZ wouldn't be appropriate to be filed because you're not shutting the plan down and then transferring the assets out to a new account. If you were shutting the plan down, you would have to file a final form 5500 EZ, but that's not what would be happening here. So hopefully that makes sense. As far as additional considerations, sometimes we do see that clients do have more than $250,000. So then the question becomes in value of their plan assets and their existing ETrade plan. So then the question becomes, have you been filing the Form 5500 EZ? And if you have been, great. Going forward, we'll handle that Form 5500 EZ preparation and submission, and now electronically, like I mentioned, as part of our service for no additional charge. If you haven't, then you'll just need to get the 5500 EZs caught up. And the IRS has a penalty relief program. They've got a straightforward process to file those 5500 EZs that are past due to get it caught up. And then again, we'll take care of the 5500 EZ going forward. Do you wish to keep the investments? And in other words, you might have a certain mutual fund or stocks, and you want to keep those investments. You don't want to just move everything to a cash position in connection with this change, and that's fine. So in that case, again, it would be new accounts at ETrade. Those new accounts at ETrade are going to allow for those same investments. So it would just be an in-kind transfer over from the existing accounts associated with the ETrade plan over to the new accounts associated with the restated plan. Are there multiple participants, in which case you'll need separate sub-accounts, of course, different types of funds like pre-tax, Roth, and after-tax, different sub-accounts. And as part of that onboarding process, we'll be finding out from you, okay, exactly how many accounts do you need? And then we'll pre-fill and prepare the paperwork to open up all the requisite number of accounts. So, and if you are doing this, the last point here would be really if you were up against a deadline. This time of year, folks really typically aren't. But if you are, you might want to file an extension if you have the ability to do so, to give you more time just for the transition to the new accounts. So we talked about the Form 5500EZ, the 1099R. Again, this is all part of our compliance support standard, no additional charge. Of course, we're going to take care of IRS required plan updates. We're fielding questions every day from our clients in terms of how much you can contribute, especially when it comes to the Mega Backdoor Roth. You got the different types of contributions, loan document preparation, supporting with alternative investments, of course, all the accounts set up that's needed, and it's all covered and included as part of our services. So now let's turn to the questions that have been teed up in the chat. Thank you so much for bringing the good questions. So our first question here is, why would ETrade make that change? Is there something upcoming in the law? So no, there's nothing in the law that precipitated this. If anything, I mean, of course, ETrade really hasn't publicized their reasoning, so we can only guess. But all plans need to be updated on a 6-year cycle across the whole industry. And so what you see happen sometimes is when the plan documents need to be updated on a 6-year cycle. So, and ETrade is not the only one who's making changes to the features of their plan in connection with that 6-year cycle update, right? TD Ameritrade also is making changes and taking away some of their features. So again, ETrade didn't publicize the reasoning. There's no upcoming change in the law. If anything, one can only guess that they just made a business decision that on the margin, the maybe additional accounts that they've been able to earn by having that feature wasn't justified based on maybe the additional complexity and support that they would have to provide, because they would be fielding maybe more complex questions from their clients. So that means they've got to train support staff to be able to answer those questions. So again, one can only guess, but that could be the type of business decision that they made. But it's definitely nothing to do with an upcoming change in the law where they're going to take away a Mega Backdoor Roth. If anything, they're just taking advantage of the fact that they have to update the plan documents anyways. So that would be an opportunity to make this type of change. So great question. Thank you so much. Does your plan allow us to invest in life insurance? Yes, subject to the rules. And let me pull up a good page on that topic. That would be a type of, you could say, alternative investment, because it's not always available under a basic plan. So we've got a good post here about investing in life insurance. So if you were to go to our website, mysolo401k.net, in the white box there to search for life insurance, it should come right up. Let me chat over that link though in the YouTube chat. So great question. Thank you so much for the good questions. If there's more questions, we definitely have plenty of time. In the meantime, we'll just highlight again our community forums. You can join it there at mysolo401k.net/my community. It's free to join. All are welcome. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on the Zoom link on the community. You can just join there. You get direct access to the link. You can ask questions. You can ask questions 24/7 in the forums. So it's a great way to learn and to share the knowledge. So I don't see any more questions. So again, thanks for all the participation. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. We post questions every day on our YouTube channel, so you get notifications of those frequently asked questions. It's really clips that we have from our daily Zoom calls. So great. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.